boiler in for a hot water cylinder and an air source heat pump, it's not going to work. I'm not going to take my combi boiler out and put an electric boiler in because it's going to cost 4 times as much to run, because electric boilers, they really do came through the electricity.
Welcome back, Sam. Welcome back to the studio.
Thank you very much.
Great
How's
to
it
have
going?
you. We last chatted, it's probably about a year ago now, on the 50 Shades of Trade podcast. We chatted all about West Country plumbing, heating, electrical, which is obviously your big established business. And we also talked about Nippy Checks, which is the new business.
Brand new.
It was very new then, and you've been going and taking Bristol by storm. I think we'd say so. Probably worth us just like reiterating like what is Nippy Checks? Yeah,
absolutely. So Nippy Checks is essentially plumbing and heating engineers operating in the city of Bristol on electric cargo bikes rather than diesel vans. So specifically probably aimed at more landlords, letting agents, but just as much homeowners. So if you've got a gas boiler and you want it serviced yearly, or you need it repaired, and if you're a landlord letting agent and you need sort of CP12s, any kind of letting requirements done on your property on gas appliances and sort of the plumbing side of things, then Nippy Checks is the go-to.
And it's like environmental impact is obviously very, very low because you're going there on electric bikes.
Super low.
And you're managing to, I mean, if you haven't seen this bikes, you should definitely check out some of the videos. Maybe we'll like drop in a little bike, but you managed to get like all of your equipment into kind of, it's like a little van, isn't it? But it's actually an electric bike.
Exactly. So it almost is like a little tuk-tuk, but it is like a little miniature van. 4-wheeled electric cargo bikes, and more than enough room in the back of them for the tools that are sort of required for what we're doing. I mean, even, boiler spares. I'm carrying all the sort of burner seals and stuff for most boilers. So I'm rocking up to a boiler service and I'm happy to take it completely apart, which is quite often people are surprised at how much I've taken their boiler apart, because a lot of people seem to think a service is like it's all right, love, 50 minutes off you go. So it's nice to do proper servicing. All the kits on the bike. It's great.
So I guess for a lot of people with like boiler, homeowners with boilers, you need to get that boiler service to keep the warranty valid, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then obviously for landlords, it's a requirement.
Yearly checks.
So you're able to offer them not just come out and do it, but that's basically a service plan, so you can guarantee them a slot each year, and that you'll handle. Getting out to them, doing all their properties, whether that's one property as a homeowner or...
and prioritised as well. So, once you're a customer, you're sort of on the system. After I've done the sort of first service, it will pre-populate another service for next year and give me reminders. So, you'll soon sort of hear from us when your next service date's up and coming. And obviously, you get kind of a priority service if there's any other problems throughout that year. So.
And I guess the key thing to point out is at the moment, like you're just getting started, really. So actually, it's pretty limited, like how many people you can support. So
absolutely,
if you want to get on board, do get on board now. Obviously, I know you're looking to expand, aren't you?
But absolutely looking to expand. And it's getting that way. I'm sort of pedaling around like a loony at the moment, which is not as hard as it sounds, because the bike does most of the work. Honestly, using bus lanes, cycle lanes, and sort of all the cut throughs to get around the city really easy. So I'm generally sort of doing 5 to 6 sort of services a day, happily. Coming into busy season, the winter, it's nice. I'm sort of more people are adopting Nippy Checks, and it's nice to get all those organic calls through and loads of recommendations, which we love. It's great to sort of look after a customer and then for them to recommend you to their neighbours. So sort of finding I'm going to one street and doing 2 or 3 jobs now. So which is great.
So what's the best way of getting in touch? If do they go to your website? Or?
Website, get in contact through the contact form on the website.
Which is nippychecks.com?
Nippychecks.com, correct. Or, get on the blower. Again, go to the website, phone numbers are all on there. Give us a shout and we can get you sorted out.
Nice. And for like actual expansion, obviously you'll be looking for other engineers to join you, I guess, soon.
Absolutely, and that's really exciting. That'd be great, because it's going to be different for me. I'm used to employing people with West Country. Over 10 years, God knows how many people we've employed. But it's almost quite easy. Everyone knows the job role. It's I'm a gas engineer. I've gone from this company to this company. I'm going to be in a van. I'm going to get a van. This is going to be different. It's going to be obviously you don't get a van, you get a cargo bike, and that's what you operate on.
It's got a cover though, hasn't it?
It's got a cover, absolutely.
It's soaking wet.
Yeah. I wouldn't. If it was wet and miserable, I wouldn't be doing it. But you can't get me off the bike now. You wouldn't get me back in a van. Simple as that. So yeah, it's going to be exciting to offer that job role out. And yeah, hopefully we get some real keen sort of people come forward. And it's going to be pretty selective. The first person on, I mean, this is, Nippy Checks moving forward with their first sort of employee, as it was, or first engineer employee after me. So I've done it for a year. I know all the ins and outs. I can pass all that information over comfortably now. And yeah,
cool. And Luke's recently joined us at Payaca, and obviously, we're here chatting because Payaca are, happily supporting and working with you at Nippy Checks. But do you want to maybe mention some of the stuff that we're working on to help support the experience for landlords and those homeowners who are on service plans with Nippy Checks? Because I think a lot of what we're doing helps that experience as well.
Yeah, I think it's everything that we're working on now. So, Payaca's platform, for the people that have seen it and used it, it's got some cool functionality, and we're really looking to make that better. So we've got the dispatch feature, which is a blend with scheduling. So effectively a calendar view where you can book and manage all your jobs, but you can also now, manage where people are. You can see clearly where your jobs are going to be taking place. You can book events that are yet to be booked in. You can see where those are. So it's all about optimizing, your job, your day effectively. So for heating engineers and for yourself, it's optimizing your day as much as possible. Yeah. Being able to contact customers without having to do all that manual lifting that you would necessarily have to do. Sitting in the office doing the admin. So the desired goal is, and where we're going to get to, is that all of this can be automated for you. And you do your check-ins, you new specialise in getting the customers and running the business like that. So yeah, that's one of the key features that's in progress at the moment.
And in terms of the end customer experience, the people that sign up to these service plans, we've got big plans there as well, haven't we?
Yeah, so we're working on something, or I should say, the client portal. Which is going to be
portal.
I know it sounds so fancy.
Sounds fancy to me. I like it. Yeah.
So it's going to be the place where as an end customer, you've got that experience. You have that with other apps. Whether it's an e-commerce store, you have your shopping basket, you have your account, and all that sort of thing. Well, this is for the landlords that you're working with. They can go in and they can, if they've got someone running their properties for them, they can manage what's coming up and get them booked in and manage whether it's payment details, customer details, any proposals that you put together or invoices, the end customer will see that. So that can be a direct-to-customer relationship as well. So if you're doing a boiler service for an individual as well, they can go in there, they can see their invoicing, they can see the proposal that you've put together, prices, everything is as clear as day, which is super exciting. And that's got, we could iterate upon that for years to come and make it super valuable, even more so. But this... But giving customers the control over their experience as well, and being able to communicate better with you, because sometimes you can't always answer the phone. You might be in the middle of a job, so for them to be able to do that is really valuable.
Yeah, and just having everything in one place, I think that's valuable to landlords, letting agents, and just as valuable to homeowners, because again, from what I know from running a company, quite often is if you're selling a house, they want to know the boiler history. So you're soon getting a phone call. Oh, we're selling our house. We need the last 5 years certificates because they've lost them. If they can just access it in their portal, everything's available, all the job history. It's massive. It's great.
Yeah, and I guess for letting agents, landlords, they need to what properties they have, they're going to be changing. They need to keep that up to date, and they need to know that they've got that cover. That Nippy Checks is going to be there.
As far as for a landlord and agent, it'll be a quality management system for their properties and all the sort of requirements that they need sort of fulfilled on plumbing and heating and sort of the gas boilers and stuff. If that's all in one place, that's massive. And as well, if they can communicate through it directly to Nippy Checks, and that's happy days. It's kind of like a gateway for them to open up a conversation about a boiler breakdown or something, and you communicate through that, and it's just as easy. That's great.
So it's worth, I don't think we mentioned it, but you're obviously you're Bristol based. People could be watching this from anywhere. Payaca's Bristol based as well. But I guess right now, so Nippy Checks is available just in Bristol. Is that?
The Bristol City area. Yeah. So if if you were to draw a line around Bristol, that's where Nippy Checks operates. So and sort of comfortably sort of doing 45 miles a day on the bike, doing 5 or 6 jobs, and we get around just as quick as a van. Honestly,
And we were chatting earlier, but you were saying that you might have some special things for people in the Eastern area.
That's where I live, is Eastern, and I'd really like to do a sort of local sort of push. So it'd be nice to get. I mean, for me and Nippy Checks, it's all about efficiency. You know, if you can make a big impact in a densely populated place. So if we can do that with clever scheduling, so multiple customers on one street, so the bike's going to one street. Sort of neighbour referrals and all that sort of stuff, then that's definitely the direction I want to go in. Definitely we're going to do a sort of marketing push in Eastern and sort of aim it at the sort of Eastern area to give them sort of first dibs on getting on board with Nippy Checks, and there might even be a little discount code flying around, and
It just means you keep that, and like the environmental impact is obviously so low anyway, but like keeping that localized means it's even better from that point.
Exactly, from an environmental impact perspective, it's going to be insanely sustainable, because we are literally bobbing around BS5, or one of the engineers is doing a full day's work, rather than here, there and everywhere in a in a diesel van. It's massive.
So you mentioned gas there. Like, what are your views on like any kind of long-term migration, towards other methods of heating?
Easy. Yeah. So renewables, I've again been in the renewables game for a long time, with West Country, so well versed with heat pumps. And there's no reason you couldn't service an air source heat pump exactly the same as not exactly the same job, obviously, but with exactly the same sort of setup that I've got. So all the kit would go into the bike. It's just a different service, it's a different appliance. So I know there's a big push at the moment in renewables and heat pumps. There's a lot of vouchers going around. Bristol is not the easiest place to fit heat pumps. Retrofit is still a bit difficult because the product isn't quite there, I don't think. A couple of years down the line, there's going to be smaller, better products for all these sort of gaps in the market. So like my house in Easton is a 2-bed Victorian terrace. I've got a gas boiler. I couldn't move away from a gas boiler, and I couldn't put a heat pump. I can't fit it in my courtyard back garden, and I can't.
There's a lot of red tape from councils
and this
like where you can put them in boundary, like
boundaries exactly. So I either put it in my courtyard garden, in which case it's going to be blowing freezing cold air on me, and it's just too big, or I strap it to the front of my house, and if I put it on the front of my house, it's going to be blowing cold air on everyone outside, making a racket. Well, they're pretty quiet, but so I think there will be products that are going to come out in the next couple of years to sort of meet that sort of criteria. Gas boilers, I'm sure are going to be around for a while. And there's this whole talk on hydrogen, whether that.
I was going to say, what's your view on that?
It seems to be. They're obviously putting a lot of money towards it. So, and it seems to be the angle they're sort of going on. So, yes, they're trying to make that work, and it does make sense if you can use the existing infrastructure, and you're just kind of switching out the appliance, and it's still a little white box on the wall that heats your house, but it's obviously a lot better. So
there's interesting arguments around that, and around like synthetic fuels as well for electric vehicles and synthetic fuels. I think it's a really interesting one, but I think there's massive space in the market for everything, because it's the scale to get to replace all the fossil fuels, isn't it?
It is, exactly. And I think you've just got to. There's not one route to do it either. There's a lot of different products out there. Everyone wants to do their bit at the moment, which is absolutely brilliant. And there is quite a lot of choice, and there's a lot of different angles you can go on. But again, back to my house, for me to take out my combi boiler to suddenly have to find room for a hot water cylinder and an air source heat pump, it's not going to work. I'm not going to take my combi boiler out and put an electric boiler in, because it's going to cost 4 times as much to run, because electric boilers, they really do came through the electricity. My gas boiler will be staying. And to be fair, my gas boiler is, quite a new gas boiler, and as efficient a gas boiler it could be, probably. So,
and the thing is, there are things that you can do if you've got a gas boiler, like use Nippy Checks.
Exactly. Yeah, change the way it's maintained and so. I love what you did there. Change the way it's maintained and serviced. Cool. And it's another thing sort of we've been thinking about in Nippy Checks is we'd like to be able to sort of offer maybe sort of some offsetting. So, all our engineers, or I'd say I might, everyone's carbon offset themselves through ecology. So it'd be nice if you could work out what your sort of yearly gas consumption is for your gas boiler. You can get it serviced sustainably and possibly pay, £30 for that year to offset it and plant God knows how many trees to do your bit there. There's lots of different things you can do. So yeah, that'd be.
There's another thing I know you sort of mentioned before is like when you're there are little things that you might be able to do to again aid that, like install smart thermostats. So I've got one at home that just means that like it automatically works off the mobile app, so that it's got a geofencing set up, so that if there's no one in, it's not going to turn on the heating.
Like home and away, it knows when you've gone out.
Exactly, things like that. It could make a big difference. And obviously, it's not just environmental impact. What with the cost of living, it's going to reduce your spend, which is a big thing as well. Yeah, and obviously that correlates with.
Yeah, definitely. For me, I've got smart controls. I've got a Nest thermostat. It knows when I go out in the morning. It knows when I come in. It sort of tailors the schedule, and it works really well. Yeah. So you can. And that's an easy thing to fit. And again, Nippy Checks, more than happy to do that. We offer that. So, it's a smart thermostat and maybe an hour or 2 hour job. And, we got everything on the bike and off we go.
And how do you find the, what's the relationship like between the other drivers that are, when you're seeing
out on the roads?
Yeah, what's that like?
It's all right. So I think it's kind of changing. So I've got it's quite funny. I've got a fan club now, which is hilarious. So there's been a few people that I've seen over and over again, and I'm starting to get to know them that are like, Nippy Checks, give us a wave, we love what you're doing. And I love that. I mistook one guy for road rage once, and I was like, yeah, and I was like, oh, he's actually waving and being really nice. I thought he was like, he was giving me stick, but again, one of the things I love about it, and you wouldn't get off a bike, is the amount of smiles I get is great. So I can be out and about, and it can be freezing, it can be absolutely piddling down with rain, but everyone sort of points, everyone sort of waves, smiles, and I think that people are sort of seeing me on multiple occasions now, and feel like they can wave because I wave back and stuff like that. So that's great. I mean, drivers on the road, most of them are absolutely fine. The bikes keep up with traffic the majority of the time because they do sort of zoom along. So I think drivers maybe get up behind it and go, oh, no, and then they go, actually, he's got to the roundabout and he's gone, and he didn't cause me any sort of stress at all, didn't delay me at all. Or I'm out the way and I'm in a bus lane, and I'm quite conscious on the bike as well. So, I'm always sort of trying to give people room. I always wave people by sensibly if there's nothing sort of come in and stuff. So all in all, 90% of the time I get a really good response. You get the odd idiot.
It's probably worse driving around the city in a car.
I think it is. I absolutely think it is. And I say the odd idiot. You get the one that, I get it. They're queued up at traffic lights, and then I come along past them and go to the front of the queue. And then they feel like they've got to overtake me again, but then they end up in, at traffic lights again, and I go past them again. Quite often that happens, and they try and, stop you. They'll like half block the cycle lane or something like that, and you're like, whatever, and you just sit there, and you end up going past them anyway, and they sort of disappear into the distance, or off they zoom past, and what you lose in a minute is like, exactly.
It's a whole can of worms.
I know, that's it. But no, Bristol's really, it's a really sort of positive city in that respect. They love the cargo bikes. They got all the the new scooters.
You see so many more like cargo bikes going around now, like electric bikes. And things.
Well, it's even like the tier the new scooters. So they've got because it was I can't remember what Voy, and they just had scooters. You can now get cargo bikes through them, and they obviously saw there's a sort of bit of a market for that. People want them, don't they? If you can rent one of them, happy days. I see more and more people taking their kids to school on these sort of bigger electric bikes with 2 4-year-olds strapped to the back and stuff. It's great.
It's great. Isn't it? And how is it? How tiring is it? So if any engineers wanted to join the Nippy Checks team,
really not at all. So it does feel like you're cheating. I mean, obviously they're electric assists, so you stick it in turbo mode and the bike does most of the work. Steep hills, so like Park Street, you've got to put a bit of effort in, and on a hot day, you might get a bit of a sweat on your brow, but then as soon as you get to sort of the hill tails off, then you're back to easy again. But
it's good for you though, right?
It's good for you. It is good for you. You're basically you're just spinning your legs all day. It's no effort at all. I don't ever come back and I go, God, my legs are stiff, or I can't get up the next morning. It doesn't. It just you don't feel it at all. So the bikes are really, really good. They really do take care of that. So
probably hotter, I guess, working with a boiler.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you get a breeze on the bike. It's lush. I mean, summer is glorious on those bikes. It is, there's nothing better. Zooming down, White Ladies Road, and you've got sort of open sights. It's great. And because you're traveling at a nicer pace, you're kind of consistently traveling like 15, 20 mile an hour. You kind of got more time to look around, see what's going on. It's more of an interesting journey. Rather than, van, stare at the back, someone else's number plate, here we go again, constantly watching.
I was going to say, you don't get quicker than that in a van, do you?
Exactly, this is it. So, you kind of have more time to sort of look about, wave at people that are smiling at you and stuff like that. So, yeah.
Cool.
Love it.
Nice one. How do I keep up with you on socials? How do I
follow? So if you look up Nippy Checks on Instagram, it'll be top of the pops. And, same on Facebook. So,
Cool.
Keep an eye out.
Lots coming soon.
Damn right.
Awesome.
Happy days.
Nice one.